do you explain if it's just the terrible royal family, this all-white, awful group of people,
and the media?
How do you explain she's also disenfranchised from her own family on both? On both sides.
I think a better way of looking at that...
On both sides, the only member of her family on either side was her mother. Yeah. She had people like George Clooney. She'd never met George Clooney
not getting into
before the wedding.
I don't know about a personal situation, but I do know this family and this media. There is no...
You're blaming the royal family for the way they treated Meghan Markle.
What the hell?
I'm saying, who do you blame in her family then? Are they all to blame too?
It's a completely
different... Because she disowned all of them as well.
Well, I would argue that she experienced abuse from her own family, right? Thomas Markle sold stories. Her sister is awful. We don't even need to talk.
Thomas Markle sold interviews after they threw him to the wolves.
When you've been in an abusive situation, you see it everywhere. And I think perhaps Meghan went with Harry into his family and went, OK, this doesn't seem right. And she knows because she's been there.
Amala, in America, obviously, this is where they've got their new home. They've made hundreds of millions from companies like Netflix, Spotify and so on by trashing their families. But that shtick is running out of steam. I mean, there's no doubt people's appetite in America and everywhere else is pretty low now for more of that stuff.
OK.
What do they do? I mean, are they just like rent a celebrity now, or what happens to them?
I don't know. Maybe they fall into obscurity, although I don't see that actually being the case, because as much as they call for privacy and wanting to be alone, they somehow always end up in the press. She did an interview with Oprah. They did this whole Netflix documentary whilst saying that they want to keep out of the public eye and be able to lead their own lives with their families. They continue to complain about the racism faced in a family that they are seemingly no longer a part of. So I'm not sure where they go next from here. There will be some other victim card to play eventually, though.
Fact. I think that is absolutely guaranteed. On a separate point, Amala, interestingly over here, TMZ in America broke an exclusive with the first picture of Kate, the Princess of Wales, in a car with her mother, apparently maybe on the school run. Now, in the UK, those pictures have not appeared.
Why? Why?
Because of an understanding between the media and the palace, the terrible media, James.
Which protects some and don't protect others.
Actually, exactly the same rules would have applied to the Sussexes, by the way, with their kids. Exactly the same. But the deal was they couldn't be published here. I was trying to think in America, it would be unthinkable, wouldn't it, if say, the wife of a president was having recuperation from surgery and was caught by photographers. Unthinkable that everyone but Americans would see that picture. Because everyone outside of the UK has seen this picture of the Princess of Wales, apart from the people here who actually pay the money through taxation for the royal family.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I don't think that would ever happen in the United States. I think Americans would know about that immediately. Now, I don't know exactly how that works in the UK and why that has been held from you, but I can assure you we would know.
Well, duh. One thing that happened here, Kahindi, this is this producer of a West End show, Slave Play, which features a Games of Thrones star, Kit Harington, among the cast. It runs from end of June to end of September at the Noel Coward Theatre, and will have blackout events confirmed to be taking place on 2 of those nights. This is where 2 performances will be aimed at an all-black identifying audience that is free from the white gaze, and it follows a similar thing on Broadway in 2019. Now, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's official spokesman says restricting audiences on the basis of race would be wrong and divisive. I mean, my take on this was, I was trying to imagine if you had an all-white cast and you said, right, we're going to have an all-white identifying audience free from the black gaze, you would go absolutely apoplectic with rage.
It clearly wouldn't be the same.
Why?
Why wouldn't it be the same?
Because the problem here is, if you go to some of these shows, you will find there is an all-white audience. Unfortunately, because of the way it works, some of these places, they are almost exclusively white. And so this is dealing with...
advertising it in that way, you would deem it extremely racist and offensive.
So there is a problem that you have almost all white audiences, and it doesn't feel like a safe space for black audience members or cast members.
Okay.
And so what you're saying is trying to address this problem. Let's have an all-black space.
So when you go to a theatre, if you see white...
no problem of all
To be clear, when you go to a theatre and you see white people there, you don't feel safe?
No, I promise you, you go to a theatre and it's all black people, you'll feel away. I promise you.
You got me.
100%. Have you ever been into a theatre and it's all black?
I've been to rap concerts in America where I've been one of the few white people. Yeah,
it's different.
I thought absolutely fine. Thanks.
The point is, it's different. When you go, it is. It's different for me. When I go into these places, it's different. It doesn't feel comfortable.
That doesn't make sense.
But just to make it, in answer to my question, though, that's my question. If there was an all-white identifying audience billed as the marketing that was free from the black gaze, you would say that was racist.
Because it would be racist. This is to address a specific problem.
Fact.
There is in the cultural sector, there is all white spaces.
Only works.
So how do you address that?
Right. So racist if it's to do with.
You're just minimising the importance of that conversation again. You're just making it a hypocritical conversation to cause an argument.
Or am I exposing a double standard?
Stop it. Get some help.
No, there isn't a double standard.
I'm actually exposing the hypocrisy.
One of these groups is a minority and one isn't. And you always bang on, and I hate to bring this in because I don't want to have a debate about it, but you always bring in safe spaces for women, which I completely agree with. And you talk about how important that is, but then suddenly when there's a safe space for black people, you've got an issue with it. So what's going on there?
I don't understand why
there's some double standards there.
Theatre is not
answer my question, please. There's some double standards in that.
You're making out that somehow black people can't go to the theatre for fear of
No,
what?
but we're having a conversation about safe spaces, and the idea is that by doing a blackout event, it will feel safer for that community to talk about.
So what if I want to have
issues?
a whiteout event?
They all are white.
Well, you can join the Ku Klux Klan if you want, Piers.
That doesn't make sense.
You're more than welcome.
So if it's a whiteout event, it's Ku Klux Klan, right? Who are the most racist group in history? I got it. So one way, if it's whiteout. Ku Klux Klan.
The point is,
if it's blackout, absolutely fine.
The point is, it's already white.
You see how ridiculous it sounds?
The point
you
is,
see how ridiculous you sound.
Let's bring in Amala, the voice of common sense. Amala, I mean, just hearing these two, honestly, trying to work out in their brains, very slowly, it seems to me, the ridiculous double standard of what they're saying. You must be laughing, aren't you?
Oh, I'm laughing. I'm shaking my head. To me, this is absolutely ridiculous. It is one of the most blatantly racist things I've seen in quite some time. And it's quite literally demeaning to black people. How insulting that you would say to black people that they don't feel safe in a space because there are fellow white people there and they need to be safe from the white gaze. And how racist it is to white people to exclude them from being able to enjoy something like the theater. This is very reminiscent of the Jim Crow South that we experienced in America, where you had white and colored water fountains. This is the very same reality that we are now ushering in. Fact. And even though we made it to a time of progress where this was no longer an issue, we are inviting it back. It is racist.
It is not the
wrong.
same. In any way, shape, or form, is this the same as Jim Crow? What you actually have in a minute is go to a show in the West End. It feels like Jim Crow already. It's already a whiteout.
Okay.
This is an anti-racist way.
But if white people did this, we're the KKK.
You do it all the time.
Okay.
Yeah. And here's the problem.
From a queer perspective
Here's
for a
the
second.
problem.
From a queer, what about a very ignorant perspective?
As a gay person,
KKK?
it's important that I am sometimes in a space of other queer people that is just queer people, so I feel safe to be myself.
You exclude straight people like me?
I would exclude you, Piers, but if you want to go to GAY with me,
I've been there, mate.
Let's go together. Great. But listen, my point is, we need safe spaces so that we feel safe.
Fact.
And actually, you're talking about it being
You
racist
wouldn't feel
to exclude
unsafe
white
with
people.
me standing
Why are
there?
white people not making black people feel safe?
Do you feel
That's the
unsafe
question.
now?
That is the question.
Do you feel unsafe now with a straight guy opposite you?
Not really, no.
Do you feel unsafe with a white guy?
It's not about that,
It's
Piers.
about 10,000 white people
feel unsafe sat here, actually.
Stop it. Get some help.
So yes, especially with the comments that
Well,
we
after
received.
comparing my position to KKK...
I did not compare that. I said you could join them if you wanted that. That's what I said.
Okay.
So, yeah, just to be clear, if it's free from the black gaze, it's KKK. Free from the white gaze, that's
This is an
emancipation.
This is an anti-racist idea. This is what the whole point is, to address a problem.
It's actually, in its own way, it's just blatant racism.
It's not racism.
It is.
not racist.
It's excluding people on their skin colour.
No.
It's the exact opposite of what
white
Martin
people
Luther King
vote.
said.
What the hell?
Judge people by the
But
content
you
of their
just a minute
character.
ago, you were trying to exclude Meghan Markle.
Oh, you
from
can't
being
get
black.
more safe in a
You were
theatre
literally-
audience.
You were just
the idea
trying to-
that someone like Kahindi Andrews goes to a theatre and feels unsafe because he's a white person.
Piers, a minute ago, you were
Absolutely
excluding
ridiculous.
Meghan Markle from being black because of her skin colour. Now you're saying that's not allowed. So
Say that
which is
again?
it? You just excluded Meghan Markle for her skin colour
You got me.
like 20 minutes ago.
When?
You were saying she wasn't black enough.
No, I asked Kahindi whether he believes she's a black woman.
Yeah, she could come to the show.
We've actually had
another
guest.
Yeah, she's allowed.
We've had another guest say she thinks she's a mixed race woman, right? I think terminology matters.
Right.
You don't?
No, of course I think terminology matters, but I'm just saying you are defining someone by skin colour, and then a minute later
I didn't actually define her skin colour.
That's a question, Piers.
I didn't actually define her skin colour.
Wow.
I asked